Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, welcome to my live stream. Jim said, off today working on the fungus, keeping me company while I work on my own personal art projects. So that's awesome, Jim. If you want to hop on, let me know. I can send you a link. So today is going to be interesting. Yesterday, I was planning on just kind of rocking all night and kind of doing roughs, but was just kind of needing a weekend. So I ended up just kind of taking it easy for the rest of Sunday. So today is crunch time, and I have to do, I think, 4 roughs. If you hear noise in the background too, that's just my wife's on the phone with her mom, so they're chatting. But anyhow, so basically what we're going to do is break down the script of Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, for pages 113. And then I'm going to try to get through the roughs for that one page. And I might preview a little bit of music from my upcoming albums, my upcoming album and then the album before that. And I might also play a little sneak peek of a song I tracked like half the vocals for, and I'm pretty proud of it because it's a song about ghosts, and it even has a part that goes, ooh, which I'm really very proud of. In the stupidest way. So of all the people I know, Jim might actually get what I've been up to with music, because it's just like, it's a compulsion, man. You just have to kind of make stuff and create stuff. And I think Jim shares that love of excitement over silly projects like music and comics and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of comics, that's what we're here to work on. So enough of my lovely face. Let's get to the daily stream, and this is a blank page. That's where we start, and then below down here you're going to see the section of script that I'm going to be breaking down. I have a pretty common process for roughs where I'll take the script, I'll break it down into text, kind of figuring out beat by beat where I need to go, and then from there, from the text, I'll basically make that into a thumbnail, and then from the thumbnail I'll turn that into a rough. So that basically should make that work. Okay, so that's how it kind of works when doing that. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take here the script and kind of see where we can go from it. I know that in the current scene, Elizabeth and Sophie are like basically walking through an open air market in Victorian Italy. And so Robert's just shared kind of a desire to not have Elizabeth basically get too close to Sophie. Like, he's a little concerned about her friendship with Sophie. He's basically telling her to tread lightly. And that is basically where that's at right now. So we're going to take the script and kind of break it down into text, and then we'll kind of get into some more fun stuff a little bit later after that. So it says here, Elizabeth approaches a flower stall and begins selecting blossoms, passing them to Robert to hold. This is one of those things where I'm just like, this this action is really like way more complicated in a comic than it would be in a movie. Just to have somebody perusing flowers and handing them, like, what do I do? Like 20 panels of each flower being handed to Robert. So I need to think of a way to condense that into a simple, like, 2-panel action. So first one we'll have them at the flower stall. We'll have this happening as they're talking. So I'm going to do like one, Robert and Elizabeth walk to flower stall. Actually, they aren't even going to be walking to it because we've already established they're kind of walking. So we'll just say stop at. Flower stall will be in the foreground. And then it's going to be Elizabeth's text. Jim was saying, if not death was, he said, if not death was Empire Strikes Back, are we at Cloud City yet? Nice. All right. So we are kind of right in the middle of the story, honestly. So we are at that kind of Empire moment. Okay. So Robert and Elizabeth stop at the flower stall in the foreground. Elizabeth's going to be saying, why do you say that? And then Robert's going to be saying, she seems entirely too eager to win your friendship. So we're going to have Robert and Elizabeth's text here. Then we're going to have Elizabeth hands flowers to Robert. And then she's going to be saying, if being eager to please is her only fault, I'm lucky to have her friendship. So that's going to be EBB text. And then it's going to have Robert, there are rumors that she bolsters her reputation by latching onto esteemed women. She lavishes them with flattery and attention and disregards them and moves on to the next. So we'll have Robert text again. 3 is going to be let's see. So she's handing Robert flowers as they're talking. Let me see here. So 3 is going to be Elizabeth saying, Robert, I didn't think you listened to such gossip. So that'll be Robert examining flowers. And Elizabeth is going to be handing him more. So then that'll be Elizabeth text. Here she's saying, oh, Robert, I didn't think you listened to such gossip. And then the next will be Robert text. And then 4 can be, let's see here. It can be Robert holding coin to vendor. Because he's supposed to be paying the vendor. And then Elizabeth is going to say, I will, dear. She seems like such an angel. Perhaps she is too good to be true. So that's Elizabeth text. And then 5 is going to be 5 Robert pays vendor. And then 6 will be Robert walking with Elizabeth. Elizabeth holding flowers in arms. Okay. So we got it broken down to like 6 panels. I'm going to go ahead and call this layer list, and then we'll start thumbnailing from there. So this will be rough page 113. I know it's weird to just kind of break things down in a list first, but I think it's very beneficial. So what I'm going to do now is play a quick trailer, and I'm going to go change the water in the backyard, and then from there, we'll get into some other stuff. We'll start thumbnailing. So here is Frank's Adventures at the Library. Sorry, I have to water the backyard too. Here it is.
Our heroic adventurers fought orcs, monsters, sorcerers, necromancers. Now they find themselves in front of a mystical library. What shall they find? It's all in the roll of the dice.
We've come this far. There's great power behind this door. I can feel it. We just have to get past it. This door is no match for my axe. I shall chop it down. You always want to use brute strength. Why don't you try knocking? We'll try it your way. You may enter. The library is open to all those who seek knowledge.
Okay, false alarm. Sorry for cutting off Frank's thing. I guess we already did the water. So, okay. So now we're going to do our thumbnail. So this is Robert and Elizabeth shopping at a flower stall. This will be a new one. This will be called Thumbnail. And where we left off last, let's see here. Where we left off last, there was kind of like this lady or whatever that was at the candy thing. I wonder if I can make that into the flower stall lady and make this like kind of an establishing, or that like an establishing for this. Or no, honestly, it should probably be a new figure. So okay, so then this is going to be Elizabeth and Robert stopping by like a flower thing. And this will be like a 6 panel. I don't know why I'm drawing the border. I don't need to draw the border. Okay, so this is going to be Elizabeth. She's going to be sort of walking with Robert, kind of saying, "Why do you say that?" I like the idea of maybe her hand is like grazing the flower thing. And then her hand here is going to be in Robert's arm. Robert's arm is going to be here. And Robert's going to be saying, "She seems entirely too pleased to whatever your friendship." So that's going to be Robert. I like his head could be kind of back. Okay. And then he's got like his arm here to kind of usher her through. And then maybe this arm could be here. Okay. And then we have the flower stall. I actually kind of like that idea. Okay. So then we'll have this be like the flowers. Again, this is really loose. I'll kind of work this out just a little bit more before we move on to other stuff. So that's going to be the shot here. But Robert's actually, there's text I have to account for too. So this is going to be her saying, "Why do you say that?" And then it's him saying, "She seems to eager to win your friendship." So maybe his text can be here, and then we can have like our flower thing here. Okay, now I'm just gonna basically fill this out a little more. And then again, we're going to be kind of doing this as a thumbnail and then a rough over it. But at least this will give me like a rough drawing to kind of work over for my final rough. A lot of roughs I'm saying here. This is the most popular stream among dogs. That's my joke for the day. I'm here all night, guys. So so this is going to be her. I'm going to just kind of build out her arm a little bit. And I'm not super worried about it getting like too thick or convoluted because again, this is just the thumbnail. So this will be the Elizabeth's hand. Elizabeth's got her sort of thing going here. Now we're going to have our thing. I think the dogs are being fed. That's exciting stuff. And this can be just flowers, different kinds of flowers, I guess. And we'll kind of work from there. I'm excited, Jim, about the full fungus, though. I got to say, it sounds pretty cool. I'm glad you got a day off, too. It's always nice to have a creative day amid the work sessions. Or I guess those aren't really, I don't know what you'd call it. Amid your day job, basically. It's nice to have like a little bit of creative time. So this has been a weird thing that's happened to me in the last few days where, the last few weeks or whatever. Part of why I've been doing albums and stuff like that is just having this dawning realization, you know, and I think this is, it's not like this is some profound new thing. It's just as a creative, it's like I've started realizing more and more that, you know, you have these things people are working really hard to get to be creative, or like when there's a magic time, then I'll do this thing. And there's just no ideal conditions. It's just like, that's just life, you know, like there's never going to be the ideal time you're waiting for to do the things you want to do. You just kind of do them and then let the chips fall where they may. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but because I think otherwise you just end up in this like waiting scenario of the waiting room where you're going to be kind of waiting for the perfect ideal moment to kind of do the things you want to do. And that wait can be a really long time. Okay. And I think this has been really vital for me. Like I just wrote an album called Worst Workplaces Ever, but I feel like I got caught for a couple years in that, the hustle of like buying and selling things and forgot a little bit of like who I am for a second there. And yeah, so anyhow, I don't know. It's been nice to kind of have that memory. Jim, I think this is in regards to me saying let the chips fall where they may. He said, that makes no sense. I'm not even eating chips right now. Exactly. How can I let them fall where they may? Well, and it's not even May, really. I mean, right? May was last month. What is up with that? I'm speaking in riddles, like a prophet. How about that? I'm just kidding. Okay. There's my rough. I like that. I like that for like a thumbnail. Uh, so I'm gonna go ahead and call that for panel 1. Doobie doobie. All right. I do want to play you guys this like weird song I tracked. I don't know what it is, but it's like I think I'm gonna do like a kind of horror punk album, like possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I want to play it for you guys. Oh, nice. Jim super chatted 199 saying penalty fee for my bad joke. Oh no, if there's a penalty for fee for bad jokes, I think I'm going to go broke. That's all I make. All right, so let's see if we can do let me play you guys this weird song. Like it's so weird. I don't know where it came from. It's bizarre. It's hilarious to me. And again, I just love the idea that I mentioned ghosts, and then there's a part in the song that goes ooh, which like for me, I was like, okay, cool, I'm good with that. But I don't know. It's a weird little song. So I'll play you this. It only has vocals for the first verse and chorus so far, but this is what I'm working on musically right now. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna play. But basically, I don't know. I like the ghosts. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know if it's good. I don't know, but I'm having fun with it. All right, so this is actually I'm revising from my original list because basically I'm realizing that they're kind of walking up to the flower booth, the flower stall first. And Elizabeth's hands flowers to Robert being the next panel doesn't make a lot of sense. I need to have her reaching for the flowers first. So that's what we're going to have here is now, this is going to be Elizabeth basically saying, if being eager to please is her fault, I'm lucky to have her friendship. And here she's going to be examining the flowers as she talks. So this will be her kind of perusing, like she's going to have her hands kind of checking out a flower. And maybe here we can have it be a white rose, since she's talking about Sophie, and Sophie's always wearing a white rose. Get that symbolism going. You know what I'm saying? How are you guys doing, by the way? Jim, how is Full Fungus coming along? I hope it's coming along well. I feel like you and I take on crazy projects sometimes. And then here she can be kind of like just examining another flower or whatever. So then we'll have the flower blossoms here, more kind of flowers. And then we'll have the kind of box thing here. And then I like the idea of Robert saying there are rumors she bolsters her reputation by latching on to esteemed women. So now maybe we can have him, like, he's facing her now. But, you know, he might also be, And then we're going to have him, I actually like the idea of, like, his hand here, because I like people talking with their hands. It's one of my favorite things. I think it's because I'm a person who, you probably can't tell during these streams because I'm always drawing, but when I talk with my hands. I've always talked with my hands. I talk to the hands sometimes. Like I'll be like, "How's it going?" And no, I'm just kidding. That's, again, I need to refund your penalty fee for that one, Jim. But anyhow, so because of that, like whenever I'm doing like a speaking sequence, I like to have people kind of talking with their hands a little bit, not talking to the hands. Oh, okay. Jim was saying he's at Cloud City, so you're like right at the epic. Like Cloud City's the best part of the, like, I don't know. That's a very epic sequence. If I think about Star Wars and like the most impactful sequences, that would be right up there. Because that really like sets the stakes like real high. And we see our hero get maimed, and that's a huge thing. Like, you know, I don't know if people realize that I don't know. I think that's why Star Wars was really cool, but like Empire added like extra weight and stakes to it because it was like, oh crap, like Luke got his hand cut off. Like it's like we're not playing games anymore. They're in a full out rebellion, a war, you know. When you see your hero actually get harmed. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you see Obi-Wan get taken out and all that fun stuff, but it's like you don't quite understand the stakes of Star Wars till Empire. It's at Empire that all the twists and turns and like the heavy stakes happen. And it's also because they're literally cooking steak all throughout the movie. Jim, that's what you need to throw in your scene. As you're adding high stakes to the full fungus, they should actually be like introducing the steaks, and it's just them grilling steak with the jazz of mink fungus in the background. And it'll be like, man, those are some high stakes. And it's like, I know. Yeah. Again, I can refund that fee, hopefully, at some point, Jim, because I'm earning it. Okay, let's see here. EBB hands flowers to Robert, and okay, we were going to not have the flowers here yet. But Robert's saying quite a bit here. So here we can have this. This can actually widening. We're widening the margin here. And we'll have this be Robert's text. And then maybe we can have some flowers that are coming towards us. So there's a little more kind of middle ground, foreground. And then we'll kind of build this out. Okay, now let's build out our thumbnail. And what is Elizabeth saying here? She's saying, if being eager to please is her only fault, I'm lucky to have her friendship. So I want her to be like one eyebrow raised. And then what we're planning on doing during this stream, again, is just I'm going to get the thumbnail for this one page done. And then from there, I'll probably break and have some breakfast. Some break fast Do you think people used to eat breakfast like super fast? Do you think that's why they call it break fast? Or is it that they were breaking their fast? Like it, because like when somebody's fasting, that's where they. Now I'm really curious. I get really curious about etymologies of just common phrases like breakfast. Like I'm sure that's probably what it is. It's like, people were fasting and then they would break their fast. I'm guessing that's what it would be. Maybe it's like a celebration of fast being over. Or maybe they would just like break things really fast. That would be hilarious if that was the origin. Like back in the day, people just every morning would just quickly break things. They'd be like, it's break fast time. Time to fast break your nose. All right. I don't know why they said nose there, but we're getting there. Okay, so now we're just kind of building it out a little bit, fleshing it out, just kind of adding a little bit of a little bit more to the rough here. More to the rough. Lord of the Roughs. All right, so then we're going to have like this kind of break out into more kind of flowers. So I want to talk about something that'll be weird. I wonder what Jim's opinion of this is. I want to talk about an album that will destroy my indie cred by saying I love it. um, One of my favorite albums of all time, minus the hit song from it, because I actually absolutely hate that song, is Counting Crows, every August and Everything After. That album to me is like sheer perfection, except for that one song, Mr. Jones, which I hate. I hate that song so much. But I actually really like that album. Like that album kind of blew my mind. And when I was really young, I was very drawn to that album, which was funny because at the time I was getting really into about the time that album came out. Oh, nice. Jim was saying Fred Durst invented breakfast and he used to call it break something fast. It's time to break my fast tonight. That's actually all that Fred Durst has been angry about all these years. He just wanted breakfast. That's it. You know, it's like Suicidal Tendencies. All he wanted was a Pepsi, which I think he actually quoted that in a Fred Durst song. Thank God Fred Durst is no longer the hip thing on the radio. Anyhow, but yeah, so it's funny because I was getting really into like hardcore and punk rock and stuff and metal. Metal particularly when that came out, when August and Everything After came out. I think it was at that point I would have been getting more into punk rock and discovering punk and stuff. But there's like this part of me that is like checking out, like all these like, punk bands and stuff like that. And then there's this other side of me that's like listening to August and Everything After and like Perfect Blue Buildings, that song, and being like, oh my gosh, it's poetry. I don't know. Maybe that's just the dichotomy of being a human being or something. But anyhow, I still to this day, if I hear that album, I get like kind of choked up. It's a really powerful album. All right. Okay, so we've got this kind of filling out to have some more details, kind of draw them in. Again, this is mainly like an underdrawing for what will be the final, um, the final countdown. And then basically this will be like the underdrawing that we build our other stuff off of. As Jim was saying, Josh, I'm not a music snob. I am the Nickelback as punk rock guy. I like any and all kinds of music as long as it's original and it's not a ripoff. Yeah, same here. I am definitely over my, kind of status of like pretending that I don't like certain music. I think I had an age range where I would be embarrassed to admit to liking certain music, but nowadays, no, I'm pretty proud of it. But anyhow, so August and Everything After, that's a great album. That's like a brilliant album. There's my thumbnail on the layer called thumbnail. That couldn't have been planned better. So now we have 2 thumbs done. Who's got 2 thumbs? I think that's how that joke arose. The 2 thumbs in a thumbless world joke was doing thumbnails and realizing somebody saying, "Hey, look who's got 2 thumbs and finished their thumbnails," and there's a guy with no thumbs who's like, "You jerk! How dare you?" Okay, we're gonna save here. Do. All right, and we have the next one. So this is going to be, now we're going to have Elizabeth handing him flowers while she's saying, "Oh, Robert, I did not think you listened to such gossip." So, okay. So now it's going to be Elizabeth handing him flowers. Maybe her head's like kind of facing this direction a little more. And then she's going to have her, she's going to be handing him flowers. And I like the idea of it being kind of a sweep. And then he will be, what's he saying? Okay, so he's going to be kind of looking down. Maybe he'll have his arms up because he's now going to be holding a bunch of flowers. And then again, we're going to have our. I think also it's important to kind of keep in mind the environment. So I still want to have like maybe like the barrel here or something. Some just indications of the environment they're in. Maybe there's like one of the tents might be up here or something. Maybe a window. Just to, like, again, not skimp on the backgrounds. And maybe here we can start introducing, because this was going to be... Okay, so the vendor is going to be in here pretty soon. So maybe they can be on the other side. Like, they've been kind of working their way across this flower thing. And so maybe on the other side we'll have the vendor here. maybe this will be like the vendor who's here. And then this can be her saying, what was it? She's going to be saying, I didn't think you listened to such gossip. And he's going to be saying, I didn't mean to slander, just urge you to be cautious. So that'll be him saying that. Then we're going to have some flowers. Maybe this can be like a closer shot of a flower. And again, we're just kind of building it out. And I did this on the wrong layer. So I have to copy it. Jim was saying, and then Elizabeth says, just give me something to break, and stops around the room. Exactly. This is actually a new metal book inspired by all things that I wish never happened in the 90s. Okay. Oh my goodness. I did a bunch of stuff on the wrong layer. So I got to cut that too. And then we're going to just paste in place. Okay. So now let's build on this thumbnail here. This here thumbnail. And this is going to be her saying, I didn't think you listened to such gossip. But Robert's basically saying, hey, she's got a like kind of bad reputation of like latching on to famous rich people. And that's what Robert's basically saying. And Elizabeth's basically saying, like, she's a sweetheart. Like, you know, I didn't think you listened to gossip. And Robert's basically saying, like, no, I don't. I'm just saying, like, you know, be a little cautious because maybe she has that reputation for a reason, right? So this will be Elizabeth here. She's got this going on, which of course we as the readers know that she's already made this like kind of creepy deal with Daniel Douglas Home, the magician. Well, he doesn't call himself a magician. He's a spiritualist. And she's made a deal with him to like train her to kind of manipulate Elizabeth and come between. Like she literally wants to destroy the relationship Elizabeth has with Robert, you know, in return for Holmes kind of hooking her up with the secret intel on how to do this scam. So this is going to be Robert's got some of the flowers here. And again, we'll work this out more as the roughs obviously become roughs rather than thumbnails. But right now we're just doing our thumbs here. Do you guys remember there was this great book by Dr. Seuss called Bartholomew and the Oobleck. Do you guys remember that? It was basically, the plot was like there's this I'm gonna botch this a little bit, but from what I recall, the plot is there's like a guy, there's like a town, and I think Bartholomew is like the squire who like tends to the clocks or something. And for some reason there's like these secret monks, and they've like cursed the sky to like rain down like oobleck, which is like this goop, this green goop, and it's like Bartholomew is trying to get to the bell or something, like the clock tower or something. I can't even remember. I think it was like a bell in the tower that would basically prevent the oobleck from raining down goop all over the city. I can't remember the plot. I just remember as a kid it being really cool because there was this kid named Bartholomew who was just fighting this big green goo. And green goo is really fun when you're when you're a kid. It's fun to see like um you know something that's about weird goopy stuff getting all over a city. This is going to be again, we're just kind of working out our stuff here, but maybe this can be like a bonnety thing. And then here we can have like an arm that's resting, a resting arm. Not incredibly fond of that face, so we're gonna kind of redo it a little bit. See if that works. Again, this is a rough, so I think that'll do it. We can kind of build out a couple more of these flowers or whatever. Make that a little more clear that this is going to be where the type goes. Then we'll put our indicators for background elements. Like there was going to be, since they're kind of working their way over, we'll have this be like a the barrel here. And that's where the barrel is. And then from there, what else did we have in the background? We had like a barrel thing. Oh, yeah. We were going to have like a tent. So the tent can be here. Maybe back in the background, we'll have like a another vendor. Maybe he's going to be doing the vendor call or whatever. Man, I've been noodly today. I don't know why I've been extra like sketchy with my lines. All right. And that'll be that for that part. So now we have that rough. Jim was saying you're thinking of the ending of The Watchmen. For which oh man, I feel like there's a delay or something. I'm not sure which joke we're talking about here. All right, so then this will be merged down. This will be merged down. Merge down. And we have about, like we have about 3 to go. 3 to go. I don't know why I ticked off the Robert holding coins to vendor thing. Okay, so let's do the other. This is going to be Elizabeth is now going to be saying, "I will, dear. She seems like such an angel." So I feel like this will be So this will be the vendor again. Like we'll have the vendor here with their hand out, basically getting change, and Robert will have his hand paying. Where could his head be? Trying to kind of figure out this this sequence here. And then she can be like here saying, yeah, she'll be like kind of leaning to him, and then he can have here, he's still got his flowers and stuff sort of kept down here. And then we'll have our other stuff here. So this is going to be her saying, I will, dear. She seems like such an angel, but perhaps too good or something. So that can be, let's have this vendor's head a little lower. Okay, let's build it out. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this is going to be Robert. He's like kind of here. He's going to be kind of looking at the vendor. And then we'll have this. So that's going to be Robert kind of leaning to give payment. This will be Elizabeth. Oh, Jim was saying he was referring to the goop dropped on the city at the ending of Watchmen. Bartholomew and the Oobleck, though, it's a great book. It's like, it was one of my favorites as a kid. And anyhow, what I remember from it is there's these monks that they're like monks that are, I think, calling the Oobleck or something. Maybe he's an apprentice to the monks. But anyhow, my point is there's these monks and they twiddle their thumbs. That's kind of their like thing. They kind of wander and twiddle their thumbs like doing this, which I think as a kid I thought was really cool. I think it's kind of magical that there is twiddling thumbs. Twiddling thumb monks is all I'm saying, is pretty rad. All right, we're gonna have her hand here. Her hand is going to be kind of on Robert's chest. And she's going to have her other hand here. And now it's Robert. Robert's going to have his... and again, we're just kind of building it out. And then we'll work from this in a bit, with the details. But now in Robert's hand is going to be all the flowers. And he's going to have his hand here, kind of cupping the flowers. And then here, he's going to be paying for it. Maybe it can be... So that'll be the coins, his arm, and then we have our hand out here. That's going to be from the vendor. And then we were going to have the vendor have kind of puffy sleeves or whatever, so that works. And then, let's see, the vendor is going to be here. Their hat thing. Bonnet or whatever they were going to be wearing. And then I can be here. I don't like Robert's expression here. I think he needs to be kind of more smiling. There we go. That's a better expression. And then we're going to do our stuff here. So this is the stall. This will be flowers. Lots of flowers. Again, you know, kind of work these out as things go. And we'll do our dude back here. And then there was going to be a stall kind of, or not a stall, a kind of thing here. It's going to be Elizabeth's text. Chapow. All right, that is going to do it for panel 4. We're blasting through these. All right, Robert's paying the vendor. And then they're going to continue through the market with Robert supporting Elizabeth, whose arms will be full of flowers. So that's what we'll do next. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and play a trailer. Since Jim Lujan is there, we're going to play Lujan's Home Shopping Crumble. I'll be right back.
Well, thank you, Colleen. I hope your daughter Kelly does well at North Carolina State this year. Well, we got another caller on the line. Elizabeth from Phoenix, Arizona. Elizabeth, what can we do for you? Are you ready to do some shopping, girl?
Oh, yes, Terry. I am ready to do some shopping today. I'm interested in that 2-book set you have. 2 Stories and Jacob's Apartment.
Oh, well, that's a great choice.
In fact, I bought these books before. I gave a set to my grandson, Hunter. These books are amazing.
Well, they sure are, and if you buy both of them, you really get the whole feel of the whole Joshua Kemble universe. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do, Terry. These books are remarkable because, for one, you can take them anywhere. You could put them in your car, and you can go to the park or the river. We've gone to the river. My husband Taylor and I, we just love it. And I murdered my husband at the river. Yeah, I did. But these still are amazing books.
All right, now we're going to have the wide shot, maybe. Should it be a wide shot or 2 panels? Because now I've condensed it, actually. I think I've managed to condense this into 4 panels, so it could be 5 panels. And we could have like a wide shot that's Robert supporting Elizabeth. Oh, you know what? Maybe it'll be Robert supporting Elizabeth here. And she's got her bundle of flowers in her arms. And he can have like his hand here. And maybe his arm up. Or no, you know what? Maybe he's supporting her arm. Just kind of working this out. And then there can be the flower stall here. Where it's got all the flowers and stuff like that. That can be the flower stall. And maybe the barrel thing here. And maybe we can have the vendor here who's like kind of like a thank you, maybe a buy. And then maybe we have, what else? Can have that guy, that carnival barker guy here. He's here, and then we'll have our kind of pathway here with some buildings. This will have like a thing. Kind of working our way through this a little bit. Another little awning thing here. And then maybe this will be I actually kind of like that as a shot. So maybe we do this going wider back. Okay. I think that'll work. So what I'm going to do now is kind of adjust that so that it actually makes sense and it's not just like some crappy little sketch. Okay. And that'll be here. We can have that kind of sized to, it shouldn't be on the list thing. So that would be good to correct anyway. We can have that kind of go into here. And we'll sort of make that the page. But I think this is too tall, so we'll kind of shorten that out. And maybe this can be a little shorter too. And that way it's a nice clean page. A nice clean page. All right. I wonder how much of this detail I should work out now or in the final. I feel like right now it might be good to kind of start working it out. So this will be Robert. He's kind of looking to Elizabeth. Da, da, da. He's got his head here. Kind of wild hair. And this can be him kind of working this out. So Elizabeth's here. She's got her her trophy of wild amount of flowers. All of this will get more fleshed out as we go, you know. And then this can be the flowers that are kind of spilling out over her arms. And she'll have her arms kind of crossed here. And then Robert's hand here, kind of helping her along. And this will be like her outfit. And then Robert's going to be kind of here. His hand out that way. And he's like leaning forward here, actually. So I kind of like that too. Maybe that's his arm, his leg. So something like that. And then we'll have the vendor has this kind of older lady with a bonnet. We'll kind of work out that bonnet a little more in a bit. But this is going to be her with the puffy sleeves or whatever. Kind of arm. She's waving. And this was going to be the barrel. We're going to kind of work out there. Wait, that wasn't the barrel. What am I doing? That was going to be the stand for the flowers. And it's going to have like kind of a dip there. This will be the flowers kind of working their way. Flowers kind of hanging out outside. And then the barrel was going to be here. So that can be our barrel. Maybe she's got kind of a tent thing going. Because they have these like kind of old school tents that are almost provided that way. And then we can have our little details of buildings and stuff. Maybe this is like a doorway. Then we'll have let's kind of go back, recede. And we were going to have our dude here. He's got his like hat thing going on. I like the idea of him. Maybe he's currently like carnival barking this way. And then we'll have our his stuff here, his little stand. But he's got like some produce and stuff that he's selling. I don't know. Anyhow, then he's gonna have tent as well. Maybe he needs to be taller. We'll kind of correct that a little bit. There we go. I like him being a little taller, so it's a little more kind of believable. And then we'll have this be like the tent kind of thing. And then we'll have maybe the tent goes back to here. And then we'll have just a little bit more of that kind of setup. Okay, that's going to do it for the thumbnail. All right, so we have our thumbnail kind of worked out, which is great. We'll go ahead and merge that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And then what we'll do is make this our cyan. So that's going to be our cyan layer. And then we'll basically make that our thumbnail. So I'm going to make a copy of that. I'll turn off my list. And then we're going to view our guides. So let's view our extras. And we'll resize them to kind of fit within the parameters like the guides. And that's looking pretty good. And then from there, I'm going to basically have my borders and we'll kind of adjust those accordingly. So right now I'm going to save. That's a good thing to do, especially with the brownouts that have been... have you guys had brownouts a lot? I'll go ahead and turn this off. It's been interesting in California, at least. And I think maybe just specifically the part of California I live in, because it's been such extreme heat. I think the grid has trouble with it sometimes. And so we definitely end up in these scenarios where like the power just goes out. It's happened a few times this month. That's horrible. Okay. I thought I had erased those, but apparently I erased them while the layer was locked, which isn't good. So I wonder if I can just delete and it won't leave too many artifacts to where I'm talking to myself about stuff that's not super interesting to you guys. I'm guessing. All right. So here we go. We're going to do this part. And then we're going to do cow, that part. And then similarly, we'll kind of adjust these panel borders just to where, again, we're just kind of, for the roughs, giving a rough idea of what this final is going to look like. I want to go one step further. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is extend these out, and then we'll have our final kind of panel borders. And that's a good place to do a little break. So we're going to save. And then what we'll do from this point is basically build the rough from it. And then we'll call it. So hopefully, hey, if I can get this done in under an hour, that'd be cool. But we'll see. It might be. Generally, these take me about 2 hours. The roughs. So because I'm slow. All right. So let's see if we can play the trailer. Let's play another Jim Lujan. Kids Say Kemble. I'll be right back.
You know, the Georgia kids say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in 3rd grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading 2 stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
Another wonderful of the Jim Lujan Kemble trilogy. All right, so here I'm going to put her saying, "Why do you say that?" Why? Oh, we got to do a thinner. Why? Not that thin. Why do you say that? And I find that, like, for the roughs, if you really like punch in the words at this point, it's really helpful, because when it comes to really finalizing and perfecting the type, it's like having a placeholder that is close to what your final is going to be is fundamental, I think, when it comes to layout. So having just that little rough there is going to help me when it comes to the finals a ton. This is going to be him saying, "She seems entirely too eager to win your friendship." She seems entirely too eager to win your friendship. I usually try to avoid what's called orphans in type, is like having like a word like friendship there in the center, just as a single word. But this one, because I need to stack it in 2s, just kind of ends up there. So if I'm going to have an orphan, I want it to be a nice long, I want it to be a big orphan, not a small orphan. Let's put it that way. Wow, my selection tool's being all weird. But like that still stacks a little better than if I had it any other way. So I think that'll work. So now I want this is going to be the text here. He's going to have a speech balloon that goes off panel. And again, this is just kind of blocking it out for the final. I always want the word tree, the like line of the word balloon, to go towards the mouth of the character. And now we're going to kind of fill this out. So we'll have this be Elizabeth. Oh, she's smiling, kind of. And then we were going to have her neck there. Okay, cool. And again, this is just for a rough, but it's like, it's really helpful to have these details for the final. And she's going to have her arm is here. Her hand is going to be sort of glazing over the flowers, I guess. And here we're going to have her skirt here. Jim said, just a suggestion, you're not using enough slang for the kids. You're coming off kind of mid. Nice, that's true. I do need to get hip to the slang. Speaking of kids and fun stuff, I don't know if you guys saw the Juneteenth Kendrick Lamar concert. It made me so proud to be an American. I've been a fan of Kendrick since Good Kid, Mad City came out. I've talked about this quite a bit, but there's not a lot of hip hop I connect with, and particularly because of like the mumble rap and all of like kind of newer hip hop just doesn't vibe with me. I'm an old man, and so I've been so pleased to see this whole thing with like Kendrick and Drake play out, because the second Drake started kind of challenging Kendrick, it was funny to me as somebody who, you know, likes hip hop and has followed it for a while, watching it. The best way I can kind of describe it is like if you were some like slam poet that did like coffee shops and you challenged a Pulitzer Prize winning poet to like a rhyme off. It kind of felt like that when Drake was starting to push Kendrick to like try to get in a rap battle with him. Where it's like, this isn't even a battle. So anyhow, watching the inevitable conclusion of that, which was Drake just getting demolished, was fun. But then watching the Juneteenth thing where all of Los Angeles united in hate against a Canadian a Canadian rapper who was trying to claim street cred and claim LA street cred was hilarious to me. It was amazing. Where I'm like, there's nothing that'll unite people. Like, here's the weird thing about Los Angeles. The weird thing about LA is we're all over the place. None of us really like California. Like, California is really expensive. It's overpriced. It's kind of wild. It's crazy to live here. You know, the entertainment industry is a nightmare. Like, the people are kind of shallow. There's all sorts of stuff we can critique about Los Angeles as being people who grew up in Southern California. But there's one thing you don't ever do, which is if you're not from California, don't trash California. Like, don't, especially our music or our entertainment industry. It's like, there's nothing that will unite people from California than being like somebody, you know, from outside of California trying to come hard against California. That actually will unite people from like nerdy old guys like me with like gangbangers in LA, like we'll all unite over that. Um, that's like one thing that is always going to bring Los Angeles together is hate. Don't challenge us on our hate because we will come at you with hate better than anyone. And so, anyhow, it's funny because a lot of people have talked about it being like a really positive, moving forward kind of event and stuff like that. And it was. But at the end of the day, what it was a bunch of people from Los Angeles and from California basically uniting to say, don't trash talk California, or we will literally sing a diss track 4 times or 5 times to you. I think he did the same diss track like 5 times in a row, just kind of burying the competition. And again, don't underestimate the spite of Los Angeles. The ability for LA people to feel spite, to unite in spite. That's all I'm saying. Anyhow, that was a rant, but I'm just saying it was fun. It was as a guy who has not connected to hip hop a lot in the last few years. Just as a fan, to have the one guy I really dig come out on top in a rap beef, and then not only that, like after the fact, have like an Amazon special. It was like a Disney special. It's funny to watch because it really is like a Wonderful World of Disney, kind of like we're doing this for Juneteenth um, uh, special, where basically the gist of it was we're going to make fun of this guy who came at a Los Angeles rapper pretending that that he was somehow going to win in that scenario, especially challenging people from LA in general. So it was a fun thing to watch, is all I'm saying. It was fun to watch play out. It's fun to have unity and love and stuff like that, but it's also fun to see people from LA feel spite on a level that like no one. I don't know. I just thought it was funny that like if there's something that can unite LA, it's usually spite. We unite in spite pretty well. But also just the fact that I'm glad the better artist won. Like that's the thing. That doesn't always happen. I feel like in life, sometimes like there's these showdowns where the bad guys win. I don't know if that makes sense. And it was nice. It was nice that the more talented guy came out on top. That was fun to see. Yeah. So anyhow, that was a rant about that was me being hip to the kids, the folks, because I'm so down with the culture. Okay, that's all you get, Jim. That was my attempt. My last attempt. Okay, so we're almost done with the rough for this page. I think I like the idea of this. We're just kind of doing some random flowers here. And we definitely need to have maybe some more roses in there. Okay. Let's see if how that's looking. Hey, I think that's working pretty well. And then here we can have a few kind of close-up ones. And maybe here it'll be like tulips or something. Okay, that's going to do that for that, I think. And now we just need to have the rest of that rough kind of worked out. And here we're going to do our... What was this going to be? Oh yeah, this was going to be the other tent. And this was going to be the barrel. Oh yeah, and then we were going to have like a window here. And then we're just establishing a little bit of light source here. And this will be Robert. And just have some shadows here just to... And I like the idea that maybe this is shadowed here because of that tent. And we'll just save. And now we have one panel done. One panel done of our rough. Whew. Okay. Let's do one more. I'm going to go ahead and do the text here, which will be her saying, Okay, here we go. It's going to say, if being eager to please is her only fault, I'm lucky to have her friendship. And while I'm working on this, let's go ahead and play a sample song from the album that I just released, and that is called Worst Places to Work. And this will be, let's play them backwards. So this will be the last track off of that album.
something the way is who I think I am. It's a wave running so late, and looking from the freeway I can see forest lawn. Let go of the waves. Let's get out of this maze. Maybe this freeway that everyone's driving on is wrong. Your employer can't make you stay.
All right, so that was a sample of track 10 from my latest album that is called Worst Places to Work. The other thing that I was going to talk about, I forgot to tell you guys about this. So we have fish. You can probably see one of the tanks back there, but there's two fish tanks that we have at our house. And one of our favorite fish is a plico, I think. I don't know. My wife would have to correct my pronunciation on it. But anyhow, it's like they're like a bottom feeder algae eater kind of fish with like whiskers, like mustache type whiskers. And we have this plico that's called Sean, that we named Sean Connery because he has like kind of a Sean Connery type mustache going on. And he we didn't, I don't think we realized that us naming him that was almost like predicting the future. So it was like a couple days ago, or actually about a week ago, that okay, hold on a second. So a couple weeks ago, well, actually not a couple weeks ago. Let me think about this because I'm kind of writing text while talking, which is a hard thing to do. Two separate things at the same time. So it was actually more like about half a week ago that we noticed that he was just gone from the tank. Like he was just like, he tends to like dig or like find like little crevices or whatever to like hide in, but he just disappeared from the tank. And we looked in the filter just because, you know, sometimes maybe I don't know how that would work, but it's like, you know, we're like, well, we got to, you know, discard any possibility of where he's gone. So we had to clean the fish tank anyway. So we pull all of the stuff out of the fish tank. We look in the sand just to see. At this point, we think we're looking for like a corpse, right? Because it's been like half a week and this fish has just been gone. And so we're like looking at the like casting side of like resin rocks and stuff that are in the tank, and just ready to find, you know, the remains of one of our favorite fish, and not super happy about it because it's like, man, but we've already kind of come to terms with, yeah, I mean, this fish is gone, like he's probably dead. So we go through all of this, we get through like cleaning the tank, and then finally, like, you know, we're just like, we can't find him. He's nowhere. He's not in the sand. He's not like, so finally, like when we're cleaning the filter, we pull out, like in the filter, there's these little rocks that you put in there that are in a bag, and they like collect algae and stuff. And it's like in a little pouch, and it's on this side of the filter that there's no way a fish could get into. And we lift it up, and right under there is Sean just chilling. He's just been like eating algae off of this bag of, of rocks. And he's alive. And he's been out of water for like 10 minutes. And we're like, oh my gosh. So we get like water, we put him back in there. And so we've realized that maybe he was named Sean Connery because he's like 007, where I mean, if you saw this section that he somehow got into, he would have had to jump and like impossibly end up in the part of the filter where the water comes out, which is too small for a fish, really. But somehow he perfectly targeted a jump to get out of the water into there. And then not only that, in order to get to the other side of the filter, he would have had to use his little, because he has like a little suction cup mouth and like whiskers. He would have had to suction cup and like use his little like whiskers to like crawl his way through a crevice and then under the underside of that bag. And somehow he did it. So he is 007. Like, we thought we were naming him just because he looked a little bit like Sean Connery. But I'm starting to think that our fish is like a genius double agent. So that's an interesting story. The day that Sean Connery escaped. Okay, so, but he's fine. He's fine. Like, that's the beauty of it. He's back in the tank, just kind of finding crevices to like hide in, and plotting his escape again, I guess, or really wanting to get to that bag of rocks to eat that extra algae. This is going to be latching onto esteemed women. You know what? I'm going to have to like widen this text area because it's just, I'm squeezing too many words in here. So we'll just kind of work with it. But anyhow, that was the excitement of our escaping fish. But it's so funny because we really thought he was just gone. Like, and we were pretty sad about it because he's one of our favorite fish, So anyhow, that was a funny one. So then I looked it up online. I was like, is this like a normal thing for like these? They're called like spiny plecos, and I looked it up, and it's like, oh yeah, it's totally normal. Like they tend to get into these impossible areas. How is this going to fit? We got to do in threes. It's just way too much text. There are rumors. She bolstered her. Okay, yeah, it's going to be in threes. And then we'll kind of continue from there. Okay, that's going to kind of work. So onto esteemed women, and then there's a whole section I got to fit under this. She lavishes is a great word. Lavishes on them. Sorry, lavishes them with flattery, and attention. Then Jim was saying, it's a good thing you didn't name your fish Kevin Spacey. I don't even know what that means. Then discards them and moves on to the next. So she basically has this reputation of like hanging out with somebody, flattering them, burying them with flattery and stuff like that, and then kind of moving forward to the next. We're going to have to make a couple adjustments to this because that is way more space for text needed than planned, which should actually work if we do this right. So I'm going to basically alter the blue line here. Let's see what we can do. Will this work if we just scoot him over to like almost like overlap with her a little bit? So they're closer. Moving them closer together. If not, we can also move her further away, but I think this might actually work. That'll get us partway there. But what I think we might have to do in turn is also move Elizabeth over just a tiny bit more. Do. Oh, not that part of Elizabeth. Let's see if this will work. That's actually going to work. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is we're going to do a few things. One is I want to adjust this word balloon so it's a little more natural. Yeah, bub. And then we'll kind of work from there. All right. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, guys. So then we're going to draw this part. And again, this is just a rough, but it's like we're working out a lot of very important things here on the rough. And then I like the idea of him using his hand to kind of explain this. But I actually like the idea of this being more kind of like to the side. And then this arm can be sort of checking out the roses. There we go. And then here we're going to have some larger flowers kind of in the foreground. And then we'll have just a few, here. And then we were going to do our similar background, but now they're more over. So now it's like the barrel is actually right here. And then we'll have our tent kind of over here because they've moved over a little bit further because they're shopping, right? And then this will be the end of the tent. Was that what I was signifying there? Yeah, I think I was.
Excuse me?
What's up, Ben?
I need to charge my pencil real quick.
Yeah, go for it, buddy. We have an electric pencil sharpener. Oh, do you want me to get it for you?
There's wires here.
Okay, yeah. Well, here, let me help. Okay, you got it? He's using the electric pencil sharpener. You good?
That's me enough.
Awesome. Point down, Ben, just so you don't poke your eye or anything. All right, he is sharpening his pencil. All right, so then this will be I think that'll be kind of enough, but this shouldn't be that high up. And then the ground level will be like here. And we'll have kind of that type of stuff. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to do another layer, which is going to just be shading for this. I'm glad we kind of worked that out. And we're almost there. We're getting there, guys. And then we'll have our just some, And I like the idea of still having that dark shadow under the tent. And we can have this sort of go back like that. So that's what we're going to save. And now we have 2 of 5 roughs done for this page, which is pretty exciting. And we've been going for 2 hours, so we're going to play a trailer. This time we're going to play the full of Frank Salazar's Adventures at the Library.
Our heroic adventurers fought orcs, monsters, sorcerers, necromancers. Now they find themselves in front of a mystical library. What shall they find? It's all in the roll of the dice.
We've come this far. There's great power behind this door. I can feel it. We just have to get past it. This door is no match for my axe. I shall chop it down. You always want to use brute strength. Why don't you try knocking? We'll try it your way. You may enter. The library is open to all those who seek knowledge. Feel free to look through our tomes. Maybe you'll find the answers you seek. I sense great power here, and it's behind those shelves. Indeed, there are powerful items hidden behind these shelves, but you can only get there through the enchanted words. Do you have those words? I believe I do.
Tremble before the Cremble.
There is great power. Look at that glove. Must be so powerful. That is not where I sense this power. I must get closer. I found them. I found the sacred manuscripts written by Joshua Kemble. Behold, I now possess 2 stories and Jacob's apartment. Please tell us more about 2 stories and Jacob's apartment, and who is Joshua Kemble? Xeric Award-winning cartoonist Joshua Kemble is a freelance artist, graphic designer, and author. 2 Stories is a confessional graphic memoir that grapples with questions of faith, mental illness, depravity, and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. Jacob's Apartment is a coming-of-age graphic novel in the vein of Ghost Road and Fun Home. It weaves together the threads of spiritual faith, identity, purpose, love, and loss to create an engrossing world in which waking and sleeping dreams collide. You have made your choice. The passage is now closed. Wait, can I get that glove? No. Oh. All right, let's go.
All right, that was Frank's Adventures at the Library. I love that so much. Jim was saying, "Hey, the chat is only me. What do I win?" I don't know, Jim. It's funny. I guess not a lot of people are up. I usually do late night streams, so that makes a lot of sense. This is a morning on a Monday, so it's a little bit of a different vibe. But you win respect, Jim. You win mad props and respect. So, okay. Now we're going to do this, where it's going to be her saying, "Oh, Robert, I did not think you listened to such gossip." And then he's going to be saying, "I do not mean to slander." I wish she had said besmirch, but slander works. Besmirch is a great word, though. "Dost thou besmirch me?" I love the idea of like a Western. Like, Jim, you and I, if we ever collab, this should be our collaboration, is a Western done in like Shakespearean tongue. Dylan said, "Hi, Joshua and Jim. I've been watching for the past 5 minutes. I was just going through notifications." Nice. Good morning. How's it going, Dylan? I do not mean to slander her. Oh, our good Sophie. Only to urge you to be cautious. All right, there we go. But okay, so Jim, I think what we should do is a Western, but everybody in the Western speaks like they have, hardcore Southern accents, but they use like Shakespearean speech, but like a Southerner's approximation of Shakespearean speech, where it's like, "How dost thou besmirch me?" I don't know. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, Jim. We need to make that happen. All right. Dylan said, "LOL." How's everyone's morning going? My morning's going okay. I gotta say though, I am eager to get this rough done because I want breakfast. And that's the rule that I've made for myself is like, I am not going to be able to eat until I get this rough done. This rough has to get completed before I can end the stream and eat some delicious break fast. Dylan said he loves that idea of like a Western where for some reason in the Western, everybody speaks in like Old English and in Shakespearean tongue. Thou dost offendeth me. I'm trying to think of like how you'd have like a shootout. What would be the terminology, the Shakespearean terminology for a shootout? And there's got to be like an old miner, like a miner who's like mining for gold, and he's got the wheel kind of voice, where they lisp. But that miner would be speaking in old Shakespearean speech as well. Gold be in thine hills. It has to happen. What about transatlantic and Shakespearean? By dost protest too much there, buddy? I don't know. I'm trying. I don't know how that works. Okay. We have Burger King breakfast coming. Nice. That is the way to do it. And again, we're just filling this out, getting the rough done, working out the sequence of the story here. I have to do this for 3 more pages after this. So today I will be streaming a lot today. I was planning on doing a lot of this yesterday, but it was just one of those days. I was just realizing Jim was making Fred Durst jokes, and I was realizing that could tie into a Fred Durst joke pretty well. Where it's just one of those days. Ooh. Do you think like I'd love to see like a biopic of Fred Durst and just I don't know his troubled relationship with his mom and dad, and I have a feeling it would just be full of him just breaking things, like. But here's the thing that it would start out as like if you were doing a biopic of Fred Durst. It would start as like innocent breaking of things, like maybe he's just really clumsy, and then it just got him into all kinds of grief in life. So it's like his mom's like, Fred, I just need you to do the dishes, okay? And he's like, whatever, mom, fine, I'll do the dishes. And he does them, and he just ends up breaking all the dishes by accident. And his mom's like, what's wrong with you, Fred? And he's like, I don't know, I just need to break some stuff tonight. And it ends up with him breaking everything, in his life just gets crumbled and destroyed by him until he finally finds his meaning in a new metal band. And on stage accidentally breaks stuff, but people are like, that's awesome. It's him finding his home. Dylan said, I don't know who Fred is. That's good, Dylan. You didn't have to live through the period of the late 90s where the worst, some of the worst music ever recorded. And I'm saying that as somebody who's not, like, I'm not a great, musician myself, but if you want to look back to some of the worst musical decisions ever made, okay, we're almost there, guys, on this panel, which is kind of cool. I want to fill out this guy. This fellow is going to have a pretty snazzy beard. Floppy hat. And here he's doing his arms to kind of show his different wares and where things can be found.
Hey, Dad?
Yes, Ben?
I made a bit of a puzzle.
You made a puzzle. I would
wanna
like
see
to
if
see
you can
it.
solve it.
Okay, well, I can't right now, but maybe later. That's very cool. I will work on that in a second, okay? I just have to finish this page.
Okay.
My son is getting really into these logic puzzles that are on like TED Ed online, like Einstein's puzzle and stuff. It's really kind of cool that he's like just naturally just kind of looking at these riddles, that are like logic puzzles. And I feel like he and I have that in common very much, where I don't know, we're just naturally drawn to stuff like that. But it's fun to see. It reminds me of me. Like he was literally looking up the trolley experiment like the other day, like without anybody telling him to. I've talked about the trolley experiment and stuff, but like he actually was looking up the trolley problem just for fun, like trying to kind of figure it out. And I thought that was fascinating that he found that on his own to be really interesting when that's something his dad would be interested in, you know. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I don't know. But he's a lot smarter than I was at that age. Like I was not as intelligent as my boy is. He's a very smart kid. But I mean, how many 10-year-olds are just like randomly looking up the trolley problem? You know, like that was pretty interesting to me. Oh, Jim was saying Ben brought you a puzzle that he made. And it was of Fred Durst. The puzzle's really cool. It's it looks like it's like Among Us characters. I actually really want to work on it. So I have to get this done.
It's basically like a which one is lying thing.
Oh, you said it's a which one is lying thing. Like you have to kind of figure out which character is lying.
All 8 of the characters are giving you clues to figure out which one is lying.
Nice.
And one of those characters is lying when they say their clue.
I love that. So he's basically saying all of the 8 characters give you a clue so you can figure out which character is lying. And then one of the characters is lying. And through the process of elimination, you can kind of find out which character's telling the truth and which ones aren't, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, you have to figure out which of those 7 actually are giving you correct clues.
And he's saying you have to figure out which of the 7 are giving direct clues. That's awesome.
Some of them may clear others, and some of them may accuse others.
Nice.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to figure out here.
I love it. I can't wait to figure out that stuff. I want to finish this. So that's more motivation for me to get this rough done, because when I'm done with these roughs, I can hang out with my kid and solve his riddle.
Just whatever you do.
And Jim was saying, so
whatever you do, I don't want you to tell your audience the answer, because I would want them to actually do it and figure it out themselves.
Nice. He was saying
you could actually show the problem to your live stream.
Nice. He was saying I could show the problem to you guys and not give away the answer and see if any of you guys can figure it out too. That sounds really cool.
Just know that the answer is written upside down on the very bottom of the page, but that's just for an emergency if you just can't figure it out.
Oh, and he said the answer is written upside down.
Or if you just do know the answer or just forgot.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, I love it. That's really cool. Okay, so we're almost there, guys. Almost through. There's only 2 more panels to kind of rough out after this. But we do have to add the shading and all that fun stuff too. So this is just going to be the thing that he's standing by. He's going to have his own kind of wares here. This will probably be just food or something. And then similarly, we were going to have like the ground here. Okay, cool. And now we can have this, and we can shade it, and then we'll be done with this up into the last 2 panels, which is pretty exciting. So we're making pretty good progress. My hope is like to not go too far over 2 hours. And I gotta say, breakfast is sounding pretty good right now, so I'm gonna have to get this done. That's that's one thing I've talked about on here before is when you have projects, you can kind of set little motivations like that where you're like, yeah, I get to have lunch, or I get to do this thing like once I finish this part of the project. People do this naturally in like capitalist scenarios where it's like, you're working for a workplace, they incentivize you to get stuff done. But, a lot of people don't think to like set those things up for themselves. I think a lot of creatives do end up doing that where you kind of go, okay, I can break after this certain point or whatever, just to kind of drive you to move forward and get some really cool stuff done. So I don't know. We'll see. I like the idea of this being a little lit on this side, and then it's going to get, again, it's casting that big shadow. And that shadow can be kind of under the thing. And then deep shadow here. And I think that'll work for the rough. So again, we're gonna call that. Dylan was saying, I've been thinking about a color scheme for the town my story takes place in, and I think it'll be the colors of summer changing into autumn with a little bit of green and mostly autumn colors. I love that idea. Also, Jim was saying, so the puzzle is about the he said, she said. I love the Limp Bizkit theme going on. It's hilarious. All right. Here we go. We've got I guess there's like some kind of resurgence though with like kids and the new metal thing, which is troubling.
What do you mean new metal thing?
Oh, not your age, Ben. Like kids a little older. I think like high school kids are for some reason into new metal again, which is not the best music. All right, we're gonna play another trailer. This will be just the Jacob's apartment trailer, and then we will continue and finish up the roughs. So here it is. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can these things we've seen and walk around breathing I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. All right. What do we got here? Dylan was saying, please do tell your thoughts on new metal. Let me put it this way. Like when I was younger, when I used to be in bands in my late teens, early 20s, we organized a local show where we rented out a hall and we basically like had everybody kind of split the revenue that we would make from the show. And we called it the Pink Rebellion because it sounded like some sort of strange plot to take over the world. I'm not sure why. But on our posters, we literally had just Fred Durst's head with a big X through it. And then it said the Pink Rebellion. And at the time, we had a website that it would take people to that would talk about our new music venue. That's how much I hated nu metal. It was like this just horrible style of music. That was all people were playing locally at the time. And it was horrible. It was just it's hard to explain other than if you just think the worst possible music you could imagine, and then imagine it a little worse. I don't know. It's like people trying to kind of mix hip hop with metal with it was just a horrible period of time for music. Anyhow, so let's continue. But it was just like it was so popular at the time. I think that's why there's so much disdain in my if you sense disdain in my voice. He was saying OMG, okay, not the answer I was expecting. So yeah, it was like I don't know, it's just like a weird like hybrid, attempt at hybrid music. I think it was influenced by like bands that I do like. Like it was influenced by some really cool stuff that was happening in post-hardcore. It was influenced by I believe by Tool. I think Tool was a huge influence on it. And I think Tool is amazing. Like I think Tool is a great band. But it was like the least authentic. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Dylan said, my favorite band in this moment has been making their way to nu metal over the past 7 years. But it's weird because it's not, I mean, it's definitely not new anymore. But it was called nu metal. And it was kind of highlighted by, you had all these bands at the time would like misspell a letter in their name. That was usually a good sign that it was a nu metal band. They would spell a word in a unique way, So they'd spell biscuit wrong, or whatever it was. I don't know. Like again, I'm not super judgy, like in the sense of like if that's somebody else's cup of tea, that's fine. It just happens to be one of the few. Like there's a few genres of music that to me sound like nails on a chalkboard. That would be one of them. The other would be like modern country. Like for some reason, like pop country, like pop country. I have trouble. I don't judge people for liking it. I just can't even like I have trouble even hearing it. It's just painful to hear. And there's only a few kinds of music like that. Like old school country I can like listen to and get into and understand, but like there's some genres that for some reason I hear it and I'm just like it's painful to hear. I don't know if you guys have that. Is there like a style of music that, like Jim, I know you have like a variety of tastes and stuff, but is there like one particular kind of music that you hear and it's just like, it hurts to hear? It's like your ears are just like, oh, I can't do it. Please answer that it's my solo stuff. You're like, everything's great except the solo stuff you've been doing sounds like nails on a chalkboard. But what I can imagine is like, I'm guessing that's what punk sounds like to some people. Like, I think that you just kind of have tastes, and you're going to have those tastes. And sometimes there's just something you really don't like. And when there's stuff you don't like, it becomes really clear, that you don't like it because it's just hard to hear or listen to. I'd be curious, do you guys have music like that? Like a band that, or a song that you hear, or a genre that you hear and you're just like, ugh, this is even hard. It's like actually physically hard to listen to. Oh, nice. A reggaeton fan? I don't even know what reggaeton is. Is that like a modern version of reggae or something? There's some reggae I like and some that I don't. I really like Toots and the Maytals. Like that's probably my favorite. I don't know if that's what reggaeton is, um, but I really like that. And I do have a soft spot for ska, and I know for some people ska is like that kind of music, like the way I was describing it, where they're just like they hear that off beat and are just like, I can't do it, I can't take it. um, yeah, so I know there's definitely a lot of hate for that genre. I don't agree with most of it. There's some of it though where I get it. Oh, he said it's cumbia music mixed with rap. Yeah, that sounds awful. Is that like that's not like Pitbull, is it? Because that I totally understand. That stuff is awful. Where it's like, I'm gonna sing like that. It's so bad. Oh my gosh. I can't even figure out the genre that would be. But if it's like that Pitbull guy, that stuff is very hard to hear. Okay, we're doing our details here. And we're doing our Jim was saying, that's just my opinion. All music has value. Well, that's the thing. I think all music and art has value, and tends to have somebody who's going to connect with it. There's just some things that are like on a frequency that's not vibing with me. And I totally recognize that the kind of art I make may be like on that same frequency for somebody else, where it's just the nails on the chalkboard frequency. Whereas for me, it's, a response and a love letter of the things I like. There's probably a lot of people that that stuff is just not their jam. And the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I do think taste can matter, but it's like I don't pretend to be the ultimate arbiter of taste. Um, Whereas I think I think the younger version of me would have been the arbiter of taste, or I would have thought of myself as that. But now, it's like I don't really. I'm definitely aware that I could be the wrong one in the scenario, and I definitely have different taste than a lot of the mainstream. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. It could mean maybe I'm deficient in my tastes, and the rest of the world is into stuff that that's good, and I just can't see it or something. I don't know. It's possible. So again, this is kind of weird and like a little off. Like she's definitely going to need some fixing, but I think for a rough, it's working. This guy's going to have his giant beard. And then here we want to do that's good. Okay. Jim was saying, so you can take that cookie. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Fred Durstathon. A Durstathon would be amazing. I think he was just an easy guy to dislike because, he wore these like red hats, and you had at the time, these like kind of douchey guys would be really into, like, you'd meet like a douchebag and they'd be like, you know what my favorite band is? And you'd be like, let me guess. It was Lincoln, not, it was, oh my gosh, now I'm blanking out on the name of his band. I'm blanking out. Hot Dog Water Party Band. Oh, Limp Bizkit. So yeah. If you met like a douchebag back in the day, that was like 9 times out of 10 going to be their favorite band. Or they'd be like rocking out to Korn, being like "Bushka Bahima, Bihima," whatever thing the Korn songs were. But again, times might have changed. All right. What do we got here? That's how I should pitch my book is like, are you a fan of Limp Bizkit? My books are like, if you mix Limp Bizkit with that would be amazing. Jim, the next time you're on Artcasters, let's pitch our projects comparing them to new metal bands. Being like, it's kind of like if you took Korn and you mixed it with Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, you'd end up with Jacob's Apartment. That's basically what everyone's told me. Okay. But again, like I feel like there's probably like good people out there who really like that music. Just it's just their tastes, and that's okay. For me, the one of the worst though is modern country. Like not the kind of old school stuff where it sounds kind of good. it's more like the stuff where it's like pop country. It's hard to explain. But that for me is really hard. And I know like tons of people love that genre, like pop country, And I can't explain. It's hard for me to even put into words how much that music's painful for me to hear. Because it just brings back dark memories. All right, let's see here. Okay. What do we got? We're doing our roughs, guys. We're doing our roughs. Yeah, Dylan, I'm with you. Dylan was saying he's not a fan of country, but I've heard classic country and modern country is kind of awful. Yeah, classic country is great. Like, yeah, I got no beef with classic country. I think classic country music has a definite quality to it and a vibe. I think Dolly Parton is a genius, and I love her stuff. I love her music. I love her attitude. I just think she's amazing. I think if more people in the world were like Dolly Parton, our world would be a better place. That's what I think. That's my hot take. Okay. Anyhow, let's get this all taken care of. Getting the vendor paid there. Got my creepy miner in the background. This creepy miner guy that I've just drawn, I think he's a fan of new metal, and he's looking at Robert and Elizabeth like, "How dare you, sir? How dare you?" And meanwhile, they're like, "Yeah, we hate new metal. It's awful." And in the background, he's like, "I've got plans for you." All right, we're getting there, guys. Look at that. Look at that, rough. Whew. Okay. One more done. We're going to play another trailer because we're getting closer to the 3-hour mark, and then we're going to finish up this rough. Jim said, let's start a band called Dolly Durst. I like it. Okay, we're gonna play Christopher Runciman's review. Chris might actually be having a show in like 30 minutes, so you guys should make sure you're subscribed to his channel. But here's his trailer.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
All right, so we've got Dylan saying, have you considered Johnny Cash as a goth cowboy? I love Johnny Cash. One of my favorite songs, I keep forgetting this guy's name. He's like a singer-songwriter, and he wrote a song that Johnny Cash covered called And Then I See Your Darkness, and it's one of the best songs ever written. And Johnny Cash's version of it is like, man, that gets me. Like, if you haven't heard that song, check it out. But yeah, that is a killer song, like one of the best. And also, you know, Cash's cover of Hurt, that's kind of amazing. We're getting kind of cartoony on this rough, and that's okay. Do 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 do. Just kind of clarifying some of the stuff in it. And this is going to be the bushel of flowers here. He said did a callable song, a collab song with a guy, and it sucks. Really? I love Johnny Cash. I think Johnny Cash is, I don't know, Cash is great. That's actually kind of along the lines of country that I really vibe with. I feel like that's my favorite. You know what? I think I like outlaw country. I think I like that a lot. Like the outlaw stuff is great. You know, I don't know. There's something dangerous about it. That's great. You know, I feel like maybe that's the problem with a lot of modern country. It just feels too safe. Seems like it was fun back when it was like dangerous. All right. Actually, I'm really digging this. Okay. So we got Eliza here. Elizabeth is doing this. Robert's kind of assisting her. His hand's going to be there. Very like generic here, but that's okay. Do 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 do. Kind of blocking out the scene here. All right. There we go. We got Robert in there. Got our old lady here. Excuse me. If you guys haven't yet, hit that like button. That helps a lot. Helps me find new listeners and viewers. Were we going to have... Yes, we were. Okay, so this is going to be her kind of waving. We were going to have a couple things here. So one is going to be... We have our... kind of barrel. Da, 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 da. And then we were going to have her tent thing here. And then she's going to have her kind of crate. What are your thoughts on divorced dad rock? And he said it's bands like Nickelback, Creed, Smash Mouth. I can't stand any of those bands. Actually, it's funny. I've never heard that termed divorced dad rock, but it sounds about right. I think that at the time that those bands were really popular, I kind of disliked them a lot. But I'm like a weird indie kid. I've been that for a long time. So there's some mainstream stuff I like, but quite often, I won't be a fan of a lot of the stuff that's huge. And that's not to say that I don't like popular stuff. Like I said before in this stream, like I really like Counting Crows, for instance, other than Mr. Jones and Me, which I think is one of the most irritating songs ever written. But like that album, August and Everything After, really moved me. Like it's a really good album. And I love REM. I like a lot of U2. So I'm not like above like radio friendly music. I think there's a lot of it that I like, but there's a lot of it that I really, really don't like. Smash Mouth would be a really good example of stuff that I can't vibe with. But again, I think it's like a taste thing. But I do remember that being a really popular band that I would be like, how can anybody like enjoy this? I don't know. Oh, Dylan was saying, well, I'm going to unsubscribe because I like some of those bands. Hey, if you like some of those bands, you are free to like them. That is your freedom to do so. Okay, let's get our prospector dude. He's going to be here. Have his kind of wacky hair. What do we got? However, it's like, again, music's a weird thing, where I think some music just vibes with some people and definitely not with others, Let's see here. I will tell you, I think sometimes though, like I remember this annoying me when I was really young. I was very briefly kind of dragged along to goth clubs by like a friend, and they were really into like the goth scene and stuff like that, and like industrial and stuff like that. And I remember being kind of annoyed because most of the people there were fans of industrial and gothic music because they had been introduced to it by like The Cure and then by Nine Inch Nails. And yet all of them, like a bunch of them, would pretend they didn't like Nine Inch Nails because Nine Inch Nails was just too popular. So they had like this talking point of, like if you ever want to like vibe with like at least at the time, I had this joke that if you ever wanted to like get along with somebody who's like really into goth or industrial, you just tell them that Nine Inch Nails is a ripoff of Skinny Puppy. And like 9 out of 10 of them will be like, you're so right, man. You're so right. Trent Reznor just ripped Skinny Puppy, which is funny because, again, Trent Reznor is great. And Nine Inch Nails is a phenomenally talented band. Like, just, Trent Reznor is a good songwriter. I just always thought that was funny that's like the expected hot take that you'd get at like a goth club was like we can't admit to liking this thing because it's popular. And actually what's funny is Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, the comic by Yonan Vasquez, has an episode, like an issue, that makes fun of that very thing where it's all these kids like basically where like putting their like hiding their Nine Inch Nails t-shirts and then going to the goth club and pointing at kids who showed up with their Nine Inch Nails t-shirt and going like, oh, what a loser. They don't know about Skinny Puppy. And I remember reading that and being like, it's funny that it's that much of a thing in the goth scene that like there's even a comic about it. It's one of the funniest like kind of goth related comics there is. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. All I have to do now is just kind of get this a little bit of this environment pieced in there like a piece of awesomeness. And then shade it, and then we'll be good to go. This could be like a one of these bins, but it's more kind of wide. Maybe we could have somebody here in the background, like kind of looking through. And then we can have our section here. So what do we got going on? All right. I am pretty darned happy with that. So what I want to do here, maybe we'll have like some of these posts. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just shade this. And I think we'll be pretty much good to go. And I think this is actually kind of working out okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. Jim was saying, this is silly, but I look at criticizing other people's music kind of like criticizing other people's religion. I know a little bit of a stretch. No, I can kind of view it that way. And I feel like it's much like religion where it's like, man, it's going to speak to you or it's not. But it's like, yeah, I don't judge. There's only maybe a couple. There's only maybe a couple bands that I would judge harshly if somebody liked. In general, I kind of don't cast a lot of judgments. You guys, we did it. We did it. Let's check out what we did. Chapow. We got through it. We got our roughs going. This page is roughed out. 113. So if you guys haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. If you want to support what I do or check out the finished work that I've done, check out Jacob's Apartment or Two Stories. They're both graphic novels that I worked really hard on and I'm very proud of, that are like indie slice of life. One, Jacob's Apartment, a doomed romance. The other two stories, a autobiographical story trying to destigmatize hard conversations about mental illness. Also, make sure that you check out on streaming platforms everywhere, They Don't Care About the Born by Joshua Kemble. That's a solo album that was just released 2 weeks ago. And keep your ears out and eyes out for the album Worst Places to Work. And those are both solo albums that are out right now. Those are ways you can support me. And also, I have a little link that's a Temu affiliate link down there. If you guys are ever shopping for cheap products like cheap shirts or hats or anything like that, Temu has all sorts of really cool stuff. I use it all the time. And you can click there and make your order using that link. I think it gives you like a code and stuff like that, and it kicks me back a little bit of cash. So those are ways you can support me and this channel. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next live stream, which will probably be today when we work on the next rough. All right, guys, have a good one. I'm going to go eat. I'll see you on the next live stream. Bye.